Hi folks, welcome back to another episode of RDR. We're going to do a little movie talk today, a little movie memories, if you will. And what better film franchise to talk about than Back to the Future? So what can I say about Back to the Future that hasn't already been said so many times and hasn't been dove into in so many other YouTube videos? Well, my movie memories are just personal takes on the movies themselves. These are not reviews. These are just how I was introduced to them, my thoughts on them, and how they affected my life. Now, similar to Terminator franchise, which I've already talked about in pretty good detail, this is no different. I grew up seeing these for the first time at one of my parents' friends' houses. They had one of those gigantic big screens, those box style ones from like the early 90s with like the wood grain on the sides and stuff. And I remember being there, and I don't remember any other kids being around, but I remember them letting us, like me and my brother and my sister, like use the basement. They had a nice house, and I remember I got to watch TV down there, and I remember it being just me. I don't remember my brother or sister. I don't know what they were doing. I'm sure they were there, but I was very young when I was first introduced to these movies. And it was on the TBS Superstation. That is TBS today, but it was called the Superstation when I was a kid. And they were playing these back to back. So I don't remember being introduced to the third one then, but I remember watching the first and like some of the second. So, and I don't think I caught in right on. I mean, I remember just kind of like seeing a car and lightning and thinking, oh my god, that car's cool. This Marty kid is cool. And I had really no idea what was going on. That I just knew they were time traveling. That's all I really knew. And I started watching these because I was down there flipping channels, and I remember my dad saying, oh, Back to the Future's on. And I was like, what? He goes, you gotta watch that. That's awesome. And I remember like kind of just starting to watch it from wherever it was in the first movie on TV. And watching it into some of the second, I remember we had to leave, and I remember not wanting to because I was mesmerized by what I was seeing. I mean, I remember thinking this might be the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, you know? At a very young age. I could have been more than 8. I don't know. But that was my first introduction to these. And then the only times I ever saw these after that were on TV again, or when we rented them. And I do remember renting these periodically over the years and slowly seeing all of them, mostly though from just seeing them on television. That was basically how I got introduced to pretty much all of them, and then renting them, you know, here and there after the fact and getting a better idea as I grew up. So if I had to pick my favorite Back to the Future movie, it's a pretty tough toss-up for me between the first and the second. And it changes as time goes on. For a long time, the second one was my favorite. And it was because of they go to the future. You know, the DeLorean flies. It's just straight up 80s futuristic awesomeness in every sense of the term. Then, and kind of as of now, I've kind of deviated back to loving the original. And I think it's just because it's just it's the classic Back to the Future story. And I think I mean, it's so hard for me to tell which one I like the most. I think I like the original because right now it's my favorite because it just does everything so perfectly, and it doesn't feel like anything is tacked on. And you know, these sequels have that feeling a little bit, but it's not enough for me to want to criticize them or hate them. But you can tell that the original story kind of started and finished, and they didn't really know they were going to make sequels to these until briefly after the theatrical release. I do believe the to be continued at the end of the first movie came on the rentals when it came to video. I do not believe that was in the theater on the big screen. if I am wrong, leave a comment and let me know. Because as much as I do know about these movies, I am no expert when it comes to the particular facts of every little thing, of course. Like some out there maybe. So, that's where I'm at right now. I love the first one. Now, the third one I do like and I appreciate. It's never been my favorite, and it's for obvious reasons. It is the black sheep, they say, of the trilogy. And there's a lot of reasons for that. For me, I do love it, but there's just something about it being in the Wild West that I never really, you know, I just always thought there were so many better time periods they could have gone to. I get that the Wild West works because they're going to, like, the beginning of, you know, of, like, the city's, you know, birth and stuff. So that's cool, and I get why they did it the way they did it, and it's, you know, I understand. It makes sense. It's just, it has a different feel. The DeLorean isn't as awesome to me. I never really enjoyed the DeLorean on the train track. I thought it was cool, but I never, like, you know, it's limited because of that. It isn't fully functioning. It's kind of broken. They kind of don't like it anymore. They realize time travel is this bad thing, and I don't know. I just, like, you don't get any of that in the first one at all. You get some of that mindset in the second one, and you don't, I just never wanted to not like it, you know? And, like, Doc going to, like, dismantle the time machine and all that kind of bummed me out. And I think that's why the third one, I'll watch it if it's on TV. I certainly have it. I have all three of these on Laserdisc. And these are some of my most prized possessions for my Laserdisc collection. So finding these was just fantastic. Not that they're super hard to find or anything. If you are looking for Laserdiscs, they do pop up a lot when I go shopping for these from private parties. But when I did find these all this kind of set, like, you know, with the same style, you know, releases and numbers, that was really fun to come by. And they're in great, great condition. And just something about Laserdiscs I just love, you know. So I don't hate this one at all. I think, if anything, I find Clara Clayton really, really annoying. And I know that that is not uncommon. She's just kind of an annoying character. I have nothing against Mary Steenburgen. I've never really known her name, to be honest, as an actress. But, because she pops in a lot of stuff from the early 90s, but I just really never liked Clara Clayton. And I know that's something that many people will agree with. So these are some of my favorite Laserdiscs. As far as me owning these, I never owned... I retract that. The first thing I bought was a box set, which I still have. It's in boxes, and I'm not going to take it out. But it is a box set of these movies from, like, the 2000s. So it's nothing, like, super rare and collectible like my Star Wars box set or my Terminator, you know, box set. But it was my first real, like, ownership of these movies. And then I did, when I bought my first flat screen TV, or not my first smart TV with sound system, I bought the DVD of Back to the Future to just watch on it for fun. And I paid like $15 for this DVD at Walmart, and it was not that long ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't own that DVD anymore. I'm pretty sure I traded it into one of those buyback places, because I don't have a DVD player. And, yeah, that just kind of was this thing I bought because I was really excited to try out this sound system with built-in DVD player at the time. And it was all a short-lived experience, so I got rid of all that equipment not long after. I kept the TV for a while. Another story, though. So I did own the DVD of Back to the Future, the original, for a while. And then I got into Laserdiscs. And it was one of my big goals was to get them on this particular format. So now that I have done that, when I watch these movies, it's these. This is how I watch them. And that is just a perk of being a Laserdisc collector. And I know that the format is not like the top quality or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. I like the quality that Laserdisc has. I like that old school theater style, you know, look it has when it's playing, even on my 4K TV. That TV and my Pioneer Laserdisc, or my Sony Laserdisc player that I most recently acquired, makes crap look pretty good. It makes these, this look pretty good. And as lower quality as it is, it's fun for me to watch in that quality because it has not only is it because I'm watching it on a Laserdisc. I don't know why, but it just makes it more fun to me. But it portrays it as if I were to have seen it in the theater. It has that theater look from when I was a kid. And I think capturing all those elements is something that's largely lost on these crisp, perfect qualities. Now, don't get me wrong. I love watching stuff in 4K. And if I had the chance to watch Back to the Future in 4K, like say on Netflix or something, if they did that, I totally would. Absolutely. And I would love it too. But when I'm going to pick a time and choose to watch this is how I would do it. Absolutely. It's just, and I know that's weird, but that's just me. So, as the years went on, I've always been just more and more intrigued by these movies. I actually watched them so much at one point that I had to not watch them for a few years because I just overdid it. And that has passed, thank God. I don't watch these as much as I used to, but I used to watch them all the time. Growing up, into my teens. I mean, I watched the VHS box that I got when I got it a few times. So I've seen these more than I probably should have. But when I do want to watch them, I love throwing in the Laserdisc. It's just a blast to do. And that's what I'll continue to do. I do own a few model DeLoreans. I have one that I got actually from Spencer's, and it's boxed up in storage. I don't have it on display anymore, but it's a pretty good die-cast model, about yay big, and it's nothing to do with Back to the Future though. It's just a standard DeLorean, a DMC-12 DeLorean model. I recently acquired a $30 model on Amazon, and it sits at my desk at work. And it is from Back to the Future 2. It has Mr. Fusion. And it's not the top quality model, but I've always wanted to have a model DeLorean from Back to the Future on my desk at my job. And when I got my recent job, I went on Amazon and I bought that instantly. Because that's how much these movies mean to me. And they kind of define me. I mean, when people see that I have that DeLorean on my desk, it says a lot about who I am. I'm not afraid to portray the fact that I am a total nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. And some people don't catch it, but the people that do that come up and go, is that DeLorean? The conversations are always a blast, and I always make a better connection with those people when they do appreciate it like I do. It's kind of a weird thing. And I think it's more common with this series than anything else, but it is one of those things where, I'll get certain coworkers will go, oh my God, is that Mr. Fusion? I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah, totally is that one from Back to the Future 2, that model you're seeing there. And it's kind of a cool conversation piece, and then we can talk about the movies, and we talk about how we saw them, and what they mean to us. It's fun. It's a very, I wouldn't even say it's cult, because it's pretty widespread, but it's a pretty crazy phenomenon that the impact it's had on our culture, and I mean, for me personally, who I am, and I think that's just awesome. Not many movies can do that, and this is one of those franchises too, where if they ever make a fourth one, or if they ever try to recreate these, I will freak out, because it's so unnecessary. And I know Robert Zemeckis and Spielberg have pretty much voiced that they feel the same, that it's pretty much, they'll have to be long gone before that could ever happen, because even then, I just think that doesn't need to be that way. This is just one of those movies where maybe way down the road, when I am an old man, can you maybe do that and have a reason to update these for whatever that reason may be. But if it is updated and deviates in any way from being a recreation to update the story, I mean, I feel even like it's just not even, I shouldn't even be saying that. But that would be the only maybe exception that you could use to pursue that in any way. But to try to do it now, oh, I beg Hollywood not to. I think it would be the worst idea ever. And I know the feedback on this has already been pretty much that. It would just don't do it. So I think any director or, you know, film producer who tries would destroy their career as such. I mean, let's just look at Ghostbusters 2016. I mean, look at the bomb that was. And I mean, you didn't need to go see that movie to know it was going to be terrible. And yes, I know that movie has a ton of controversy on, like, you know, women empowerment and stuff. And it has nothing to do with that for me personally. I think it could have been 4 female Ghostbusters and done right. I do. I think it could have happened. The reason that movie didn't work is because the script sucked. It sucked. I mean, I didn't need to watch any of that movie to watch, I had to watch the preview one time to go, well, never seeing that. And what the heck did I just watch? And how could this possibly be happening? Is all I could think of. Being a huge Ghostbusters fan from a kid and seeing that come out. And I mean, just, you know, Paul Feig got tons of crap for it. I guess I commend him for trying and pushing through anyway and saying, you know, kind of screw you everybody, I'm doing it anyway. That's cool. And I get what he was trying to do. It just did everything so epically wrong. And why am I going off on this tangent? Because that's what would happen here. 100% if they try to redo these. Period. So don't do it, Hollywood. Just don't do it. We learned from our mistakes with Ghostbusters, and now they're rebooting Ghostbusters, hopefully, in 2020, with a direct sequel to the original 2, and they basically are going to forget this Ghostbusters 2016 ever existed. That's what would happen if they tried to make a 4th one, or if they tried to reboot these. What would happen is it would go by the wayside, and it would be forgotten. For good reason. I cannot see a way where it would work unless it is like 50 or 60 years from now. Maybe then it will work. When the culture and lore and nostalgia behind these movies has faded so many generations, can it maybe work and not get the backlash it would get if it were to happen right now? It's too soon. These movies aren't that old. They're only like 30-some years old. Tops. Which isn't that long. I mean, yeah, it is kind of. But if you look in terms of how we view media from like the 80s onward now, they all kind of have a much longer lifespan in terms of the generations of my generation and the one, you know, preceding it and after it. We all look at this stuff, and I mean, look at all the stuff dedicated. Not on, I mean, on YouTube alone. Look at my channel; it's dedicated to this kind of stuff, from this era. And I think that says a lot about how much it means to us and how we're kind of still breathing life into these franchises and things just by doing these things. And a recreation just isn't going to happen. I hope. Enough said on that. You also got my 2 cents on what I think of Ghostbusters on a completely unrelated tangent. So thank you for bearing with me on that. In conclusion, I think that these will always be some of my favorite movies. Period. I love them. I will always watch them when they're on TV. I'll always watch them when they pop up on Amazon Prime or, you know, Netflix for free, which isn't that often, I find. But I'll always have the Laserdiscs. As long as I have a working Laserdisc player, I'll always be able to enjoy Back to the Future whenever I want. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of Back to the Future. What is your favorite Back to the Future movie? Is it Back to the Future 1, 2, or is it Back to the Future 3? If it is 3, please let me know why. You know, I don't hate Back to the Future 3, but I do put it 3rd in my sequence of which ones I like the most. So let me know what you think. Feel free to like this video, Subscribe to my channel. Leave me any feedback you would like in the comments. I would love to know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of, what you never want to see again. Anything like that. Let me know. Or let me know what you think also, since we talked about it, of the Ghostbusters movies or the new Ghostbusters coming out. That's something to talk about in the comments, I think. I want to know what people think about the third Ghostbusters movie coming out in 2020 and the ditching of Ghostbusters 2016. It'd be good to know. I mean, if you haven't heard about it yet, look it up. It's happening, and yes, they are not paying any attention to Ghostbusters 2016. For good reason. Thanks again. Always a pleasure. Have a great day.